Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
My name is Brenda McCoy, and I've been a very happy member here for 10 and a half years. Time flies when you're having fun. This is definitely my happy place. I am a member of the care team and of the welcome team. And if you haven't been a greeter lately or ever, see me after the service. I'll get you all lined up. If this is your first time, or if you've been attending for decades or anywhere in between, welcome. We're glad you're here. If you arrive with grief and a feeling of being overwhelmed, or if you arrive hopeful and with a song in your heart, or if you have some combination of sorrow and celebration, we're glad you're here. Whether you believe in God all of the time, some of the time, or none of the time, we're glad you're here. This community is what it is because of your presence. So welcome. Welcome to this space of love, support, justice, compassion, and fellowship. Later in the service today, we will take our Share the Plate offering for Clean River partners. Our donations will go to protecting the waters of our beloved Cannon River watershed. Clean River Partners brings together diverse partners, including residents, farmers, landowners, in order to co-create a healthy and resilient watershed. During the offering, you may place check or cash in the basket, or you can donate online through our website, uunorthfield.org. I call your attention to the announcements in your order of service and our weekly email. Especially note that we are looking for speakers for our summer services. Please fill out an online form or talk to Sara if you're interested. An added announcement that if you're interested in being a delegate to the General Assembly, the annual meeting of the Unitarian Universalist Association, the deadline to fill out the application form is this Thursday. See the Reach newsletter for the link. Next Sunday, join us for our service, A Battle of Imagination. We are happy and honored to have our special guest speaker, Reverend Julika Herman de la Fuente, back at UUFN. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northfield.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. possibility. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay.
Thank you. Good morning, all. I am the Reverend Sara Smalley, she, her pronouns, and it is my joy and honor to serve this congregation as its minister. Today, we continue our monthly theme of the practice of imagination and allow ourselves the possibility that even now, something wonderful might happen. 2 weeks ago, I received a somewhat last-minute invitation by the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association to attend a training in Rochester for a process that could transform how Unitarian Universalist ministers receive support and coaching in order to become better ministers while decreasing burnout. It's a role with the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association that would allow me to serve our denomination in as yet unimagined ways while continuing to serve here at UUFN. It would have been very easy for me to say no. The process includes a lengthy application, lots of books to read and papers to write, an intense week of training in Rochester, and a commitment to a 9-month practicum. But as it turns out, I had been listening to that song we just heard on repeat that week, Be Open for Something Wonderful to Happen. And listening to that song in some small way changed how my brain was wired. That invitation from the UUMA seemed like the universe saying, are you going to imagine imagining, or are you going to take that practice of imagination seriously? Are you open to imagining something wonderful might happen if you take a risk and say yes to something unknown? Challenge accepted, and I headed to Rochester last week. Now, when they said the training would be intense, they weren't kidding. Early mornings and long days of head and heart work. By Thursday evening, I could barely manage to put words together to form sentences. At dinner that night, I mentioned to a colleague that I needed to come up with something to say about imagination in order to write a sermon for Sunday. And she very helpfully replied, what if, in the interest of care for yourself and for your congregation, you imagine asking for help and not preaching on Sunday? So I did. It felt radical. I imagined a different possibility where I asked for help. I reached out to a colleague for this last-minute SOS, and she kindly and enthusiastically said yes. Today, she and I will be co-leading this service along with Brenda, Misha, and Taylor. And so it is my true joy and honor to introduce the Reverend Misha Sanders. You'll see her on screen if you can't quite yet, as our guest preacher today. She and I were in seminary together and have laughed and cried together and learned so much about ministry and life together. Some of you may recognize her name from the MSRV, the Misha Sanders revised version of the Loaves and Fishes Bible story I read last month. She is a community minister in Atlanta, Georgia, a fiery preacher of the good news of universal love, and believes that the whole world is built and rebuilt by the stories we tell ourselves and each other. She now has our call to worship.
Thank you, my friend, Reverend Sara. Thank you so much for this invitation. And hello, beloveds. It's wonderful to be with you today. Hi, especially to the folks, my fellow Zoom people. It is nice to be one of you today. Our opening words are by my colleague Becky Brooks. Mother's Day is complicated. Joyful for many, yes, but complicated. It's right there on the calendar, even if your mother has died. Even if you've been told yet again that you are still not pregnant, or if you've never been more scared than you are right now because you are pregnant, it's Mother's Day. Even if your own mother's priorities included everything but you, there's going to be a Mother's Day Google Doodle with flowers and pink stuff. Even if you have scars, ones you can see and ones you can't, it's Mother's Day. That cake mix commercial is going to roll out 4 times an hour, even when you can't stop shaking and crying because you can't believe you slapped your little boy today. It's Mother's Day, and we all have to live with that in those silent, breathless moments because even when the baby dies, it's Mother's Day. And so let's go to church. Let's be a church where we can acknowledge how difficult it is to have this day, right alongside how joyful this day can be. Let's be a church where we don't pretend there aren't inky depths of space between us, even when we sing. Let's be a church that fills the space between our differences with love. Because even in the most broken places, there is room for love. We can be that church.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Each Sunday when we gather, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in bringing this symbol to life together. Please join me in speaking the words for the lighting of our chalice. This is called The Embers of Imagination by the Reverend Michelle Collins. We light this chalice, its spark kindles the embers of imagination within us. May its flame ignite wonder, fuel dreams of justice, and illuminate the path toward what could be. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, which is number 1051 in the Teal hymnal. We are.
Want to share some history about this complicated thing we call Mother's Day, because we too often get it wrong. As writer Jennifer Zevin says, Mother's Day was about fighting for a better world for women, not just breakfast in bed. Here's its origins. In 1870, Julia Ward Howe wanted to harness the power of mother's love to create lasting change in the world. Julia Ward Howe was a poet, abolitionist, women's voting rights activist, and Unitarian. In response to the violence of the Civil War and the escalation of the Franco-Prussian War, Howe wrote her Appeal to Womanhood, which later became known as the Mother's Day Proclamation. This proclamation put into words her feminist conviction that women had a responsibility to shape their societies at the political level. In the early 1900s, Anna Jarvis took up the cause to make Mother's Day a national holiday. Quote, Jarvis, who remained unmarried and childless her whole life, resolved to see the holiday added to the national calendar. Arguing that American holidays were biased towards male achievements, she started a massive letter-writing campaign to newspapers and prominent politicians urging the adoption of a special day honoring motherhood. And in 1914, President Woodrow Wilson did just this, proclaiming it a national holiday and, quote, public expression of our love and reverence for all mothers. Soon thereafter, florists and card shops started commercializing the holiday. Jarvis was appalled. She rallied against the exploitation of what was supposed to be a special reverential day for families. She spent much of the rest of her life lobbying against this commercialization and trying to get Mother's Day removed from the American calendar. To summarize, Mother's Day was at its roots about two things: women harnessing their collective power to bring an end to war, and women declaring they would no longer be made to be invisible, sometimes even in their own homes. And then it was quickly co-opted and turned into a condescending, gender norms enforcing holiday by Woodrow Wilson and a way to make money for men. Imagine instead if people took the prophetic words and vision of Julia Ward Howe and Anna Jarvis seriously then. Imagine if we did today. A slightly abridged version of the Julia Ward Howe original Mother's Day Proclamation from 1870 is found in the Gray Hymnal, number 573. Today, we will hear it in its entirety.
Arise, all women who have hearts, whether your baptism be that of water or of tears.
Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies. Our husbands shall not come to us reeking with carnage for caresses and applause. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We women of one country will be too tender of those of another to allow our sons to be trained to injure theirs.
From the bosom of the devastated earth, a voice goes up with our own. It says, disarm, disarm. The sword is not the balance of justice. Blood does not wipe out dishonor, nor violence indicate possession.
As men have often forsaken the plow and the anvil at the summons of war, let women now leave all that may be left of home for a great and earnest day of council.
Let them meet first as women to bewail and commemorate the dead. Let them solemnly take counsel with each other as to the means whereby the great human family can live in peace, each learning after his own time the sacred impress, not of Caesar, but of God.
In the name of womanhood and of humanity, I earnestly ask that a General Congress of Women, without limit of nationality, may be appointed and held at some place deemed most convenient and at the earliest period consistent with its objects to promote the alliance of the different nationalities, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace.
Imagine if people took the prophetic words and vision of Julia Ward, how seriously then, and imagine if we did today. We now look not to the past, but to the world around us and the work that still must be done. Let us look to a new Mother's Day proclamation to embrace the needs of our times, inspired by the example of our ancestors who resisted violence, cowardice, and oppression, and guided by our values of love and liberation. Let us commit ourselves today to the work that is ours to do. After each pair of readings from this Mother's Day proclamation, then and now, our congregational response will be, may this be our resolution in heart and in practice. The words will be on your screen. Please rise.
Arise, all those who have hearts, whether constricted by passion or despair, say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by irrelevant agencies.
Say firmly, we will not have great questions decided by agencies who seek to govern what is not theirs to control. We will not have healthcare decisions about our bodies decided by courts or legislatures. We proclaim all bodies are whole and holy and under no agency but their own.
May this be our resolution in heart and in practice.
Our children shall not be taken from us to unlearn that all that we have been able to teach them of charity, mercy, and patience. We of one country will be too tender of those of another country to allow our children to be trained to injure theirs.
We will ensure children of all genders, races, cultures, abilities, religions, and identities know tenderness and belonging. We will not allow children to be traumatized at the hands of state-sponsored violence and dehumanization. We seek to create a world where all children are safe, supported, and loved.
May this be our resolution in heart and in practice.
The devastated earth calls to us, awake, your greed will not protect you. Disarm, disarm. Drought and despair know no political boundaries, and neither should our concern for the very lives of our neighbors and of all creation.
We lay down our weapons of consumerism and exploitation. We claim not the brittle power of dominion, but the liberating power of love.
May this be our resolution in heart and in practice.
Though we too often forsake our common good in favor of individual concern and comfort, let us know the sacred impress of community. Sibling to sibling, let us acknowledge the harm we have caused by our words and by our silence. We must grieve our errors and our losses. Rising out of this anguish, we look to what may still be repaired.
In the name of humanity, let a solemn and joyful collaboration begin. In lieu of a day or a moment of commitment, we cultivate habits of accountability, compassion, and courage. As we leave behind the illusion of separateness, let us inhabit the truth of our interdependence. Let us each do the work that is ours to do, not in the service of the few, but for the benefit of all. In this way, may the great human family live in peace.
May this be our resolution in heart and in practice. You may be seated. As we turn our attention to our candles of community, I invite yourself to allow yourself an unhurried breath with a long exhale. I invite you to arrive more fully in this moment with these people, to let your heart catch up with you and feel the presence of love within and among. In this circle of care, we make space for the complexity of life, the myriad experiences that bless and break our hearts. The truth of human experience dictates that on any given day, we each come to the table with hearts in different places. It is especially so on this day, Mother's Day, because no matter the history of this day, mothers and mothering are also personal and often tender topics. And so we pause and slow down to honor the complexity of Mother's Day today, writ large in flowered platitudes out there, but here in this space, laid bare, honoring the truth in each of our hearts, there is room for all in this circle of care. And so we light our first candle for the complexity of motherhood and speak these words by Leah Ongeri, adapted. To those who have mothered, thank you. To those who rejoice in the work, the role, the presence of mothering and mothers, we celebrate with you. To those who are in the thick of parenting children of any age, we appreciate you. To those who experience loss in any number of ways, through infertility, miscarriage, adoption, including those who were birth parents and those who didn't know their birth parent, estrangement, whether as a parent or a child, or through the ultimate loss, the loss of life of a child, we mourn with you. To those who are missing their moms, we grieve with you. To those who have endured physical or emotional abuse or neglect at the hands of their mothers, we acknowledge you. To those who experience pain at the marking of this day, we witness you. To those who are single moms, grandmoms, stepmoms, foster moms, adoptive moms, mentor moms, and spiritual moms of any gender, we need you. To those who are pregnant with new life, we anticipate with you. And to those who hold a different truth altogether, we honor your unspoken story. There is room for all in this space where complexity and you are held. And we light a candle for the mothers of Gaza, for the mothers of Israel, for the mothers around the world and the mothers here in this country who fear for their brown or Black or trans children's lives. Our love extends. We know too that the details of our daily lives are sacred and important, and we light our candles of community in honor of the joys and sorrows we carry in our hearts, but that have not been spoken out loud. We now move into a time of shared sacred silence that we may hear the voice of love. Blessed be, and amen.
asleep at the wheel there. Our reading today is from writer and spoken poet Andrea Gibson. This is called The Mind is a Cage. Here's the key. Throughout my life, my mind has often been a misguided machine, gathering evidence, preparing arguments, keeping score. It can cling to every warning of a doctor's mouth, every headline flashing catastrophe. My spirit, though, which has led me through most of these years, doesn't speak that language. It moves through the world like wind through the tall grass, believing in what can't always be measured. Lately, I've needed to listen more closely to that part of myself, the part that doesn't need proof to know what is real. When I listen to it, I feel the whole world expand. I know I'm not the only one whose mind wants to trap them right now. The weight of everything, personal struggles, a world in pain, the fear that nothing will ever change can make it hard to breathe. But I believe that there is another way, that loosening our grip on what we think we know will be exactly what saves us. Not just as individuals, but collectively. Imagination isn't an escape. It's an act of liberation, a door flung open to something wildly new. The freer we become inside ourselves, the freer our world will be. We will now gratefully give and receive our Share the Plate offering for Clean River Partners. The Green Team at UUFN raises awareness about and acts on behalf of our environmental justice within the UUFN community and beyond. This month, we are all invited to lend our support to environmental justice as a core value of our our UUFN community. Will the ushers please come forward?
Okay, it looks like it's my turn. Okay, before I start, I wasn't going to do this because why would I? But now I'm going to because it's too funny, so why wouldn't I? So this background behind me is just a blanket on a rolling clothes rack, and if it were to fall down or be knocked down by any of my cats, you would just see my messy kitchen behind me, which might happen. It probably won't, but it might. But anyway, this fancy little chalice table beside me is actually my ironing board because I could get it to the right height. And I just looked over a couple minutes ago because here's my lit chalice and it's all shaky. And I was like, what in the world is going on? Let me show you what's going on just in case tragedy strikes later and I have to stop. That's that's what's going on the other end of my ironing board. So anyway, I just wanted y'all to know, and you might see that's Marlowe. You might see a little bit of Marlowe later on, or in under these other felines I share the house with. So Thursday, when I was talking to my friend, your beloved Reverend Sara, uh, she told me, that your theme was about imagination and being open to something wonderful, and I said, oh, because I wanted to preach about cowbirds, and so she told me go ahead and preach about cowbirds. So we are going to be open to the possibility that hearing about cowbirds and taking a sharp left turn from what Sara had probably planned for this service is the wonderful thing that is happening today. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. A few years ago, I learned about cowbirds, right? Do you know about cowbirds? I didn't. I'm mystified that I got to like 48 years old and 52 now. I got to 48 years old without knowing about cowbirds. But here's how I learned. My friend, Reverend Kelly, posted a picture on social media of a robin's nest in which there were. Seth, can you put that picture up? Yeah, that's it right there. That's Reverend Kelly's picture. So as you can see, if sight is available to you, there's 3 perfect sweet little blue robin eggs, as one might expect and be delighted to find, and one maybe slightly larger egg, ivory in color and speckled with light brown. And they're all lying together right there in this neat little robin's nest. It's a really beautiful picture. The speckled egg, turns out, is the egg of a cowbird. So I just love that picture. You can leave it up or take it down, whatever you want to do. So, do you know about cowbirds? Like I said, I didn't. Let me tell you what these trifling cowbird moms do. They're called brood parasites. And what that means is that they do not nest and care for their eggs the way that most other birds do. What they do instead is they watch other species of birds from the trees. And when they see that, for example, this mother robin, although it's not always robins, has laid a clutch of eggs, they will watch that nest until the parent robins have left for a little while. And then the cowbird mom will quickly and stealthily fly in, lay an egg right in there with the robin's eggs, and fly back into the trees, hoping that the host family will return and just never notice. That's what cowbirds do. This cracks me right up. I'm not sure why, but I find it hilarious. Nature is astonishing and delightful sometimes, isn't it? And of course, nature is astonishing and brutal sometimes. Because what a precarious way to start a family, right? I had so many questions, so I read some stuff by smarter people and learned that mother cowbirds do not simply lay that egg and leave it. That's not exactly how that happens. They monitor the progress of the egg and the young hatchling if it's lucky enough to survive. Now, if she finds that her egg has been removed by the host species, which sometimes happens, she will often retaliate by destroying all of the host's eggs. This slows the spread of anti-cowbird behavior by preventing those birds from reproducing, as well as giving the cowbird another chance to add an egg if the host renests. Now, research tells us that the mother cowbird, I love this, remains in the territory well after the young have hatched, and that baby cowbirds as young as 6 days old respond to the characteristic rattle call of mother cowbirds. Baby cowbirds have to avoid imprinting on their foster parents, and the rattle call of the birth mom functions as a kind of instinctive password that helps cowbirds recognize their own species after they fledge. So that mostly answered the big question for me of how in the world cowbird culture is passed on if literally every single cowbird is raised by an adoptive family of a different species. Sure, some things are just instinctual in ways that humans can't fully understand, but also I love knowing that these mama cowbirds are still there, just hanging around, yelling at their kids from the trees. Hey, big weird looking robin. Spoiler alert. You're not a robin, you're a cowbird. I love this. And of course, cowbird moms make me think of the very unlikely survival story of baby Moses in the Hebrew Bible. That's where my mind goes. See, Moses' mom, Yocheved, under great duress because the newborn children of her people were the victims of an ongoing genocide, decided to take her chances with cowbird behavior. Many of you know this story or parts of it about baby Moses being hidden in the Nile in a basket near the bathing area of the princess of Egypt. Moses' older sister, Miriam, was tasked with acting as the mother cowbird. Perhaps Moses' birth mom, Yocheved, was not physically able to take on this task. We don't really know. Perhaps she had other children to tend to, which is more likely the case. We don't know for sure, but what we do know is that she sent Miriam to watch after her baby brother from the trees by the robin's nest. Bulrushes, I believe it actually was, at the edge of the river Nile. And when the Pharaoh's daughter, the prince of Egypt, having come to the river to bathe, heard the tiny baby's cry, she did what Yocheved had hoped she would do, which was take this child in as her own, into the palace and into safety from the genocide that was happening. At which point, as she decides to take this baby back with her, Miriam just conveniently emerges from the bulrushes and says, "Excuse me, ma'am, but if you happen to need a nanny for that baby, I'm available." And that is how Yocheved's kids got into the palace. That's how Miriam became the cowbird mom for Moses, reminding him that as he was raised as an Egyptian prince, that, hey, big awkward Robin, you're different because you're actually a cowbird, or a Hebrew, a Jew in this case. And in that one little story of cowbirds, or that one little story of Moses in the bulrushes, we come across many ways, more than one certainly, of loving ways of mothering a child into the fullness of who they are. Some birth moms, like Yocheved, leave their babies at safe havens, hoping for the best. Some birth moms, like cowbirds, carefully vet the prospective adoptive families and know as much about who they are entrusting with their child as possible before letting go. Some aunties and friends of all genders and sisters like Miriam rise to the occasion of mothering by saying, "I will be here to help this little fledgling grow and remember who they really are." Some mothers, sisters, aunties, and friends of all genders, like the cowbirds, will just stay hidden behind some nearby branches to yell out the empowering truth of who we really are to us, just as we are about to forget our cowbird call and try to talk like a robin. And some mothers, like robins and Egyptian princesses, will take in a baby and raise it and love it as her own, because a mother's love is far too powerful to be restricted by an incidental thing like DNA bonds. There are tragedies in both of these stories, of course. There are the rejected cowbird eggs tossed away by the robin's eggs destroyed in retaliation by the distraught cowbirds. In Yocheved's case, there was a genocide happening of Jewish children and the unfathomable grief of their mother and caregivers. And there runs a thread through both stories of the commonality of the love of mothers who have kept bird culture and Jewish culture alive and thriving and vibrant generation after generation against all odds. It's just an imperfect analogy. I do hope I am able to make it clear that I am not equating the heartbreaking decisions of mothers oppressed by racist systems to instinctual bird behavior. But today, as we celebrate mothers and our ultimate Mother Earth and all of her children, it seems like the very different stories have a few similarities worth mentioning at least. It was near this time in the spring, only a few years ago, when I was pretty new to Georgia, when news broke from right here in my beloved Georgia, downstate in Ocilla, about a doctor who was performing brutal surgeries on immigrant detainee women and womb having people to make them unable to biologically mother or mother again. Many of you remember that story. It was a nationwide, probably worldwide story. So while anti-Semitism is very much alive and well here in our present day, just like in Yahovid's day, the tragic, brutal stories of the death of mothers' dreams have shifted to the Palestinian genocide. And in our nation, they center around the bodies of Black and brown beloveds and all immigrants and refugees. Also in my state, the the brilliant political career of our own Congresswoman Lucy McBath was born from her unfathomable grief as the mother whose Black son was murdered in an act of gun violence. She has made it her mission to protect the children of other mothers by whatever means possible. Mothering is rarely about cards and flowers, which is why it's cool to go all out on that if you want to. But mothering, we know, is often a messy, fearful, brutal affair, is it not? We are, after all born immediately right into pain, blood, screams, and the instinctual primal strength of our womb parent to do whatever it takes to get us safely into the world. And sometimes the people who bear us in this way also end up mothering us. And sometimes we are given over to the care of someone else who will do the mothering, fathering, parenting. Sometimes mothering goes wrong. Not everyone's great at it. Some people are just downright terrible at it. Here's what writer Anne Lamott has to say about mothering. I did not raise my son Sam to celebrate Mother's Day. I didn't want him to feel some obligation to buy me pricey lunches or flowers, some obligatory annual display of gratitude. Perhaps Mother's Day will come to mean something to me as I grow even dottier in my dotage, and I will find myself bitter and distressed when Sam dutifully ignores the holiday. But Mother's Day celebrates a huge lie about the value of women, that mothers are superior beings, that they have done more with their lives and chosen a more difficult path. Ha! Every woman's path is difficult, and many mothers were as equipped to raise children as wire monkey mothers. I say that without judgment. It's true. Anne continues, an unhealthy mother's love is withering. The illusion that mothers are automatically more fulfilled and complete, ridiculous. I hate the way the holidays make non-mothers and the daughters of dead mothers and the mothers of dead or lost children feel the deepest kind of grief and failure. The non-mothers must sit in their churches, temples, mosques, recovery rooms, and pretend to feel good about the day while they are excluded from a holiday that benefits no one but Hallmark and Seas. There is no refuge, not at the horse races, movies, malls, museums. Even the turn off your cell phone announcer is going to open by saying Happy Mother's Day. But my main gripe with Mother's Day, Anne says, is that it feels incomplete and imprecise. The main thing that ever helped mothers was other people mothering them, including aunties and brothers, a chain of mothering that keeps the whole shebang afloat. No one is more sentimentalized in America than mothers on Mother's Day, but no one is more often blamed for the culture's bad people and behavior. You want to give me chocolate and flowers? Great. I love them both. I just don't want them out of guilt, and I don't want them if you're not going to give them to all the people who helped mother children. But if you are going to include everyone, then make mine something like M&Ms and maybe flowers you picked yourself, even from my own garden. The cut stems wrapped in wet paper towels, then tin foil and waxed paper in a wax paper bag from my kitchen drawer. I don't want something special. I want something beautifully plain. Like everything else, it can fill me only if it is ordinary and available to all. Isn't that beautiful? I love those words by Anne Lamott. Beautifully plain, ordinary, and available to all. Like our beloved Gaia, our Mother Earth, without which we cannot be. Like the lives of the cowbirds. Like the timeless story of Moses and all the women who mothered him to a life of great leadership. Like immigrant mothers who cross oceans and deserts and fascist regimes for the chance to give their children a better life. Like Black mothers who pray every morning that their babies will come home safe at the end of the day. Like you, mothered by someone, or more likely by someone's. And perhaps you are mothering others too. Maybe you know that you mother people into the fullness of themselves, but maybe you don't. To all of you, thank you and happy Mother's Day.
Thank you for that good word, dear one. And now please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn. We're going to do a reprise of Be Open, now with all of our voices and imaginations joining in.
Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Be open for something wonderful to happen. Be open to the possibility. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay. Hi-yay, hi-yay, hi-yay.
Thank you, Reverend Sara, and the whole congregation, wonderful congregation, for letting me crash y'all's party this morning. Our closing words are adapted from the words of Leah Derland Jones. For those who gave us birth and those who nurtured us, we offer gratitude and thanks. May their lives or their memories be a blessing. May we feel surrounded by their love as we go forth from this time and place. Let us learn from their fears and their courage, their not knowing and their wisdom, their realities and their dreams. Let us honor them by doing the work of living boldly, loving mightily, and creating heaven on earth. Ashe and Amen.
We join together in the words for extinguishing our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now please rise in body or spirit, and with your hand over your heart, holding a hand of those next to you, or whatever posture is most comfortable for you, we sing words of blessing one to another.
May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light that's within
Blessed be, go in peace.